There is a belief that quietly controls most people's life and destroys their potential. That belief is this: I will act when I feel motivated. At first, it sounds reasonable, even logical, because motivation feels powerful. It gives you energy, clarity, and a sense of direction. In those moments, you feel like you can finally change your life. But then something happens. The feeling fades, and when it fades, so does your action. You stop showing up, you delay your plans, you start negotiating with your goals, and slowly, without realizing it, you return to the same patterns you once promised to escape. This is not a discipline problem, it's a misunderstanding of how success actually works. Because the truth is, motivation was never designed to carry you forward. It's temporary, unstable, emotional. And if your life depends on something temporary, your results will always be temporary. In this deep dive, I'm going to share about the details by dismantling one of the biggest myths about the success, not just on the surface, but psychologically, behaviorally, and practically. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand discipline, you will see why it's the only thing that truly. Motivation feels like the beginning of everything. It's the moment you decide to change, the spark that pushes you to start, the emotional high that convinces you that this time will be different. But here is the problem: motivation is not built for endurance, it's built for initiation. And that's where most people get trapped. They confuse a starting emotion with a sustaining system. When you feel motivated, everything seems easy. You plan big, you commit hard, you imagine a better version of yourself. But what you are actually relying on is a temporary emotional state, and emotions are unreliable. They depend on sleep, stress, environment, people, and countless external factors you can't control. So when your environment shifts, your motivation drops. When your mood changes, your effort disappears. This is why people start strong but don't finish. Not because they lack ambition, but because they depend on something unstable. To truly understand why motivation fails, you need to understand what is actually is. Motivation is not a commitment. It's not discipline. It's not consistency. It's an emotional response. It's triggered by external stimuli, something you see, hear, or experience that creates a temporary surge of desire. For examples, you watch an inspiring video, you hear a success story, you read a powerful quote, and suddenly you feel ready. But that readiness is not rooted in habit, it's rooted in the emotion. And emotions fluctuate constantly. So if your action depends upon motivation, your consistency will depend on how you feel. And that creates a dangerous pattern because feelings are not designed to produce long term outcomes. Discipline operates on a completely different level. It's not emotional, it is not reactive, it does not depend on external triggers. Discipline is a decision system. It's the ability to act in alignment with your goals, regardless of your emotional state. This means you show up when you are tired, you work when you are distracted, you continue when it feels repetitive. Discipline removes the need to feel ready, and that's what makes it powerful because once action is no longer tied to the emotions, it becomes consistent. And consistency is the foundation of every meaningful result. Most people unknowingly live inside a repeating loop. And the loop is like action, consistency, growth, and it is leading to the confidence. It begins with excitement. You take action, you feel progress, but then the emotional energy fades. And when it fades, resistance appears. Suddenly, the same task feels harder. You start delaying. You skip one day, then another. Eventually, you stop, not because you decided to quit, but because you lost the emotional drive that started you. Then comes the guilt, frustration, self doubt, and instead of fixing the system, you wait for motivation to return. This cycle keeps people stuck for the years. Discipline wins daily. The real growth happens when you don't feel like it. Consistency beats comfort. Now compare that with a disciplined approach. It starts without emotions. You take action because it's required, not because it feels good. Then you repeat it again and again. That repetition builds the consistency. Consistency produces visible progress. Progress builds the confidence, and confidence reinforces the identity. This is how transformation actually happens, not through sudden bursts of energy, but through structured repetition. Discipline builds the identity. Repeated actions shape who you become. Consistency creates the confidence. The most defining moments of growth are not visible. They happen in silence, in resistance, in discomfort. One day, when motivation is absent, that's where discipline matters because anyone can act when they feel like it, but very few people act when they don't. And that difference is compounds over the time. Systems over the feelings. Motivation depends on the mood. Discipline depends on the systems and the routine. Every repeated action is a vote for the person you are becoming. When you act consistently, you reinforce a pattern. That pattern becomes behavior, and behavior becomes identity. So, discipline is not just about the results, it's about the transformation. Discipline versus talent. Talent helps, but discipline always wins. Consistency beats natural ability. Systems eliminate decision fatigue. Instead of asking, should I, you follow a predefined structure. This reduces the resistance, removes excuses, and creates stability. And the stability leads to the consistency. Discipline reduces the stress. Planning and routine reduce chaos. Discipline creates clarity. Talent creates opportunity. And discipline sustains it. Without discipline, talent fades. With discipline, even average ability becomes exceptional. How to build the discipline? Start small, stay consistent, remove the distractions, and build the routines. Structure removes the chaos. When your actions are planned, your mind is clear. Clarity reduces the anxiety. Consistency reduces the pressure. The biggest mistake is waiting for the motivation delays progress. Start before you feel ready. Start small, stay consistent, eliminate the friction, focus over the systems, not the intensity. Because discipline is not built through extremes, it's built through repetition. Discipline is equal to the freedom. Discipline creates long term freedom. Your daily actions shape your future. Waiting for the motivation is the biggest delay mechanism in the life. Action creates momentum, not the other way around. Discipline is not the restriction, it is control over your future. Your daily actions determine your long term reality. If you remember one thing, motivation starts the journey, discipline finishes it, and only one of them shows up every day.